If you're anything like me, you've been thinking a lot about different ways to save money in 2024. And today I'm going to be sharing 15 I'm so glad I messed that up. And today I'm going to be sharing 15 crochet items that I will not be purchasing this year. Everything is so expensive right now, and I have been brainstorming all different kinds of ways that I can save money in 2024. And what I have found from personal experience is that crochet can be costly if I'm not consciously thinking about the things that I'm buying. I definitely have shiny object syndrome, which means that anytime that I see a pretty crochet related object, I need to have it in my life. But I've found that really for crochet, you only need a few essential items and all the rest is fluff. And right now is not the time for fluff in my life. So these are going to be the 15 different items that I am not going to be purchasing in 2024. The very first crochet item that I thought of that I will not be buying in 2024 are non-locking stitch markers. I don't know about you, but every time that I am fooled into using one of those circular little stitch markers, it always, and I mean without fail, falls out of my project. And it almost always happens when I am working on a project in the round like amigurumi, and I really need to know where the beginning of my round is. I'll be happily crocheting, and about halfway through the round, I will notice, where did the stitch marker go? Where is it? What happened to it? It almost always completely disappears. I don't know how this happens. I don't know where it goes. I don't know what these stitch markers are doing. They are running away. I never seem to find them again. So from this point forward, I'm only going to be buying stitch markers that have a lock. This second crochet item has to do with the first one, but it is slightly different, and that is to buy any stitch markers that are thick. Because, I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but if you are especially crocheting in the round, like with an amigurumi toy or any other round item like a hat, and you have a thicker stitch marker and you're using a thinner weight yarn, it will leave a tiny gap, but it is actually noticeable. And you'll be able to see where that stitch marker was, and it's usually a bit of a vertical line and it might curve a little bit. I really don't like that look, and so I've decided that not only am I not going to use thicker stitch markers, but I'm also not going to be buying them. In the past, I have had a problem with buying any crochet hook that I come across. I don't know what it is about crochet hooks, but I feel the need to have them all. Even if I'm not going to use them, I seem to purchase them. So I have decided that in 2024, I am not allowed to buy one crochet hook. I'm not going to do it. I am not allowing myself to even look at crochet hooks. And I will say that one of the reasons why I am able to say with certainty that I will not buy a crochet hook in 2024 is that I have quite a few of them, but I've also found two of my favorite brands. And that was my excuse in the past, was I was always trying different crochet hooks. I wanted to find ones that worked really well with the way I hold my crochet hook and felt really good. And I have finally found two that I absolutely love. And you may know that I used to love Furl's Odyssey crochet hooks, but they quit making them. So that was a bummer. But now I love Clover Amour crochet hooks. They are fabulous, but I got a new set in 2023 and I am in love with them. I'm gonna put my little tripod down here on my table because my arm is getting super sore. I got the Tulip Edamo Red crochet hook set, and I've left it in the package even though I used the crochet hooks, and then I put them back because I just love how this looks. It even comes with this little case. I'm in love with these crochet hooks. They are very smooth. They're very similar to the Clover Amour. So if you already have the Clover Amour, you might not want these, but I just loved how they looked. I loved the little case, and they are really nice crochet hooks. And so that's why I feel like I can confidently say I am not going to be buying any crochet hooks in 2024. Another thing that I am focusing on in 2024 is leveling up my crochet skills. And something that is actually surprised me is that I have gotten super interested in crocheting my own clothes. Now, I'm not going to crochet everything in my wardrobe. I just want to have a few beautiful pieces that I can say, I made this. And if you're anything like me, you might want to check out the Skillshare class Crochet Couture by Elise. In this class, she teaches you how to make this beautiful crochet shirt that will fit you like a glove. And that's one of the most important lessons in this class, is all about gauge swatching. And that is where you will learn how to make your garment to fit you perfectly. Skillshare is the largest online learning platform for creatives. I love that Skillshare classes are online. You can learn from the comforts of your own home, and they're all ad-free. Skillshare not only has the crochet couture class, but you're also going to find thousands of different creative classes in areas like crocheting, knitting, and sewing, just to name a few. And because there are so many different classes, it can be hard to know where to start, but Skillshare has created learning paths where they hand pick classes and they're meant to be taken in order. And I have created a learning path with Skillshare that will help you whether you're a beginner or you're like me and you've got some experience but you want to polish up your existing skills. I have 8 different classes that will take you from the fundamentals of learning how to crochet, then learning how to make granny squares, fingerless mitts, a shawl, and I've also included 3 classes to learn how to crochet amigurumi, which is my favorite. These classes are taught by industry professionals like Tony Lipsy of TL Yarn Crafts and Lee Sartori of Coco Crochet Lee. These are just to name a few. And what's even better is that the first 500 people to click the link in the description box below will get a 1-month free trial. Thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. The next crochet item I'm not going to be buying in 2024 is one that I have fallen for so many times, and that is yarn bowls and yarn feeders. There's something about these items that make me want to purchase them. They seem like they will solve all of my problems, and I buy them and then I am truly disappointed and I never use them, and all they do is collect dust in my craft room. So for that reason, these are on my no buy list for 2024. I have a few yarn bowls and I honestly never use them. I put little decorative things in them. I have bought the big Sully. I have bought other little wooden contraptions that hold the yarn. I literally never use them. I just set my yarn beside me in my chair and that's what I do. And it doesn't even matter if I'm working with multiple colors. And I've also discovered that there are other great ways if you need to protect your yarn for some reason. And I know some people have cats or dogs or kids that won't leave their yarn alone, and maybe you need to protect that yarn. And you can use paper bags, Ziploc bags. You can use 2-liter bottles that you cut the bottom of them off. There's a lot of different things that you can do. These are not essential items, and I am not allowing myself to buy another one in 2024. Another crochet item that I am not going to be purchasing in 2024 is a project planner, because I have one for you for free to download. I have honestly been using this, and this is something that I have been struggling with for quite some time, is writing down all of those details about a project. But I put this one in the back of my calendar and it has been amazing. I have already completed one big whip on my to-do list, and I actually wrote down the details, because in the past I have always thought that my memory was going to help me and I was going to remember all of those little details, and I never did. So I'm using this planner and it is working perfectly. So if you would like it yourself, there is also a link in the description box below for you to download it for free. Another crochet item that I'm not going to be buying in 2024 is a notions pouch or a little project bag. And the biggest reason is I already have them, but I am so tempted by them because they're always so beautiful. You can find such pretty ones on Amazon and on Etsy, but I am not allowing myself to have any of them this year. But even if I didn't have one already, there are so many ways that you can use household items. One of my favorites was that a couple of years ago, I was in my garage cleaning things out and I found this old makeup case that my daughter had back when she was a teenager, and it was in very good condition, and it has all these little compartments, and I thought this is gonna be perfect for crochet. So I took it, cleaned it up a little bit, and I was able to store crochet hooks, notions, measuring tapes, all of the things that I need. But the good news is that you can find a lot of household items to turn into a small notions pouch, like little Ziploc bags, but I've also used tiny little Tupperware containers. I got these at Dollar Tree and they work perfect. I love being able to separate out stitch markers and my yarn needles, and they fit into a larger notions pouch perfectly. That was kind of weird, wasn't it? That didn't work out like I thought. Almost fell over that time. Let me do it again. Another thing that I am not going to be buying in 2024 is a crochet tension ring. Now, I know that there are a lot of people who have found great value with these little tools, but for me, it would be a waste of money. These little devices sit on your finger and they help regulate your tension when you're crocheting. And if you ever have issues where you have a big indentation in your hand, which I do all the time, but it doesn't bother me. But some people really don't like the feel of the yarn dragging along their skin, and a tension ring can help with that. But there are ways that you can actually make these at home. I recently saw a tutorial for how to use paper clips to do that, and all you have to do is do a quick Google search and you will find all of these different ways to make a crochet tension ring if that's something that you want to do. And that way you don't have to spend any money on it. Okay, so last summer I got it in my head that I needed a digital stitch counter for my crochet projects. And I ended up buying this crochet hook set. It had interchangeable heads and it was a lighted crochet hook, and it also had a digital stitch counter. And I thought that this was going to solve all of my problems. I ended up really liking the crochet hook set itself. It was very well made. It had metal heads. The light was okay. I didn't really use it for that, but I kept thinking that this digital stitch counter was going to be a miracle for me. And you know what happened? I kept forgetting to use it. So if you don't click it every time you do a stitch, what's the point of it? You don't have an accurate stitch count. So for me, that is going to be another item on my list that I will not be buying in 2024. I don't need a digital stitch counter no matter how much I think I do. Another crochet item that I'm not going to be buying in 2024 is a beginner crochet kit. Now, these are very tempting. And yes, I'm not a beginner, so I don't need something like that. But even if I was a beginner, or if I had a beginner friend, I am not going to be buying one of these. They come with all of the different things that you need for your crochet hobby. They come with a little case. They're usually very pretty. They come with crochet hooks. They come with yarn needles. They come with stitch markers, and they usually have a lot of other things that I honestly have no idea what they are. But here's why I'm not going to be buying anything like that in 2024. I gotta put this down because my arm is already getting sore. And last year, I got tricked into buying one of those beginner crochet kits. And when I got it, I was so disappointed in the quality of the materials. And I've seen a lot of them floating around on Amazon, and I never recommend them, especially to beginners, because beginners should really be using the best quality items that they can get their hands on, because otherwise they're going to struggle and feel really frustrated. So I am not going to be buying any beginner crochet kits, and I caution anybody. I know they're tempting because some of them look so pretty and they come with all these different things, but I would really recommend skipping that and just buying the items individually. This video is turning into crochet items that I got tricked into buying, and now don't buy them for yourself. And the next one is lighted crochet hooks. These are not something that I will ever be buying again, and I've bought two different ones in the last couple of years. The first set was absolutely horrible, and I went on a big old rant in a previous video. The second one were the KXK lighted crochet hooks. Those are the ones that came with the digital stitch counter, and those were actually a great crochet hook set. I just didn't happen to use the digital stitch counter, and also the light really isn't that great. I have a neck light that I use when I'm crocheting in the evenings, or if it's a dark colored yarn. So I just don't think that lighted crochet hooks give enough light. At least the two that I have purchased have enough light to really justify the cost of them. I would rather have a neck light where I can use it for other things besides crocheting. If I need to find something in my dark and scary garage, I use my lighted crochet hook. Not my lighted crochet hook, my neck light. The next crochet item that I'm not going to be buying in 2024 are bent yarn needles. I see a lot of amigurumi makers use these, and I have tried so many times to use them, and for whatever reason, my hands do not go with bent yarn needles. They are supposed to be really great, especially when you're attaching, say, a head to the neck and you have to get that yarn needle in a really weird position. I don't know what it is about bent yarn needles. They slip around in my hand and they roll around and I can't keep hold of them. I don't know what it is about them, but I cannot use them. And for that reason alone, I am not going to be buying them in 2024. But I know that there are others who love them and use them successfully. I really think it's something with my own hands. For this next one, I'm going to try not to go on a rant, but I can't promise anything. The next crochet item that I am not going to be buying in 2024, and I don't think anybody should, is buying crochet patterns from disreputable shops. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean crochet patterns that are generated by AI. And unfortunately, there are a lot out there, and I think that we're going to continue to see more going forward. This is a hot topic in the crochet community right now because AI is writing crochet patterns. So someone can go into ChatGPT and say, write a crochet pattern for a teddy bear, and ChatGPT will spit something out, and people are selling that as a real crochet pattern. They can even create an AI generated image and sell it as if that's what's going to come out when you crochet that pattern. And at this point, AI cannot write a crochet pattern correctly. And people are getting duped, and people are spending money on crochet patterns that are never going to turn out like they think they're going to. So, one of the things that I'm going to be doing as I am looking for crochet patterns to make, I'm looking for one right now, is that when you come across, say, an Etsy shop or you have found something on Pinterest, look for who the designer is. Try to find out that information and then go look them up on social media. Almost every reputable crochet designer that I know has some social media presence, and they look like a real person. That's what I'm going to be doing as I'm searching for crochet patterns, because unfortunately you're going to find these on Etsy. I don't know what they're going to do about it, and hopefully in time Etsy will be able to weed out these AI generated crochet patterns, but for right now it's not happening. So I'm going to be doing my due diligence and not just trusting that, oh, it's on a reputable site, it must be fine. If I don't know the designer, I need to do my homework first. Another crochet item that I'm not going to be buying in 2024 are safety eyes that come from any other shops besides 60/60 Eyes and Glass Eyes online. I am so glad that a couple of years ago I found these two websites, and this is the only place that I order safety eyes for amigurumi now because of the quality. Before I found those shops, I would buy safety eyes on Amazon, and there were some okay eyes, but the problem was always the backs. Sometimes they would break, crack, or they were incredibly difficult to put on, or they would just pop off. Nobody wants safety eyes to pop off on a toy. But what I have found with 60/60 Eyes and Glass Eyes online is that they are very high quality, and I use this little tool that I found on Amazon. I did find it on Amazon. It's very high quality, and I'm able to easily put the backs onto the eyes. Now, this little tool works with any safety eyes that you have, but I really do love that the 60/60 Eyes and the Glass Eyes online feel the safest of any safety eyes that I've ever used. Now, I'm not saying that safety eyes are safe for children under 3 because safety eyes are a choking hazard. So I'm not going to be buying any safety eyes from other businesses besides those two. So last year I ran out of my regular polyfill stuffing, and I decided that I wanted to experiment with something called Morning Glory cluster stuff. Cluster stuff is exactly the way it sounds. It's little clusters of stuffing, and it really does work well if you want that soft, squishy toy. But most of the toys that I crochet, I would like for them to be very firmly stuffed, and it just makes it really difficult to grab the stuffing because it kind of falls all apart. And if you're trying to get deep down into one little area and you're using your little chopstick or your little stuffing tool, it can be really hard to get it because it's not in one little clump. So it's in all these little tiny clusters. So that's the only reason I'm not going to be buying it in 2024. I actually do think it's a really good product, but it's just not one that I will use. The next crochet item that I'm not going to be buying in 2024 has to do with crochet hook handles. So after Furl's Odyssey was discontinued, I went on the hunt for the perfect ergonomic crochet hook handle. I even tried some DIY options like a tennis ball. I tried makeup sponges, polymer clay, and even the Chunky Boy craft handle. They all had positive aspects, but none of them actually worked for me, and I started to really think, why is that? And the first thing that I discovered was that my hands aren't super large, so anything that made my hand hold like this just wasn't going to work for me. I needed something that was a little bit on the smaller side. And then I finally came to the conclusion that my two favorite crochet hooks, the Clover Amour and the Tulip Edamo Red, already have an ergonomic hook, and that by adding anything else to it just made it feel uncomfortable for me. But I will say that if I was someone that liked plain metal crochet hooks like Susan Bates or Boy crochet hooks, I would be using the Chunky Boy craft handle. It really does feel so good in your hands. The only issue with those craft handles is that they can be hard to come by. I signed up for her email list, but I also opted in for her text messages so that I would know the minute that the shop was restocked and I was able to buy 2 of them. I bet you can guess the one crochet item that I will be buying in 2024. If you said yarn, you would be correct. There is no way I could go an entire year without buying any yarn. And I do have a nice little stash, but I love to experiment with new yarns. And if I run out of a color, I am definitely going to be buying it. But I do hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know what crochet items you will not be buying in 2024. And make sure to get your 1-month free trial of Skillshare. I hope you have a great rest of your week. Stay safe and happy stitching.